Hey, can you hear me, Asher?
Yes, sir.
Cool, 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 cool. How you doing this morning?
Doing great. Yourself?
I'm awesome, man. I'm great, man. Thank you.
You want to jump on camera?
Yeah, there we go.
Cool, cool. Okay, I see you with the mic. I see you with the headset outside.
Yeah, I was trying to make sure I could do it right for you.
I like it. I had to go ahead and ask you because I got into an interview the other day, like maybe 30 or 40 minutes in,
Uh-huh.
and as soon as he paused for me, I was like, "Oh crap, do you want to get on camera?" And he's like, "I thought I was on camera this whole time," and I was like you live and learn. You live and learn.
Yeah, for sure. For
But
sure.
how are you doing this morning, sir?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. Doing great outside, man. Back of my house.
It looks nice.
Fresh air. Yeah, man, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Awesome. So I started using this. I started with this question just to kick things off. Who do you say you are?
Who do I say I am?
Yes, just answer
Uh,
that however
yeah,
you feel.
I got you. Um, I'm a man, first of all.
I see that.
And yeah, yeah, no, serious. I'm a man, first of all. Uh, and I guess I have many different adjectives that go along with that. But first and foremost, I'm a man. Simple and plain.
Mhm.
Um, if I was to add some adjectives into that, then it would be father, husband, provider, um, priest, um, follower, leader,
Mhm.
uh, yeah, worker,
Gotcha.
student, entrepreneur, a teacher. A lot, a
Mhm.
lot of things. But yeah, first and foremost, just to keep it simple, I'm a man, yo. I'm a
Gotcha.
man.
And oh, I guess I didn't really introduce you, so my
No, that's all
bad.
good.
Introduce yourself with your name and all like your background.
All right. My name is Eddie Butler, affectionately known as EL. Um, to the brothers on the line, uh, shout out to the prayer line. And
Yeah.
my background, oh man, uh, if you're looking for my work history, I've been working since I was 10 years old. My first job was in a junkyard with my dad.
Mhm.
He was a heavy equipment operator and engineer, where he tore down and rebuilt heavy equipment, operated it. So I've been working since I was probably about 10 years old with him in the junkyard, officially working, getting a paycheck
Mhm.
since I was 10 years old. Um, I've worked for UPS for over 20 years. Um, I have uh, 2 degrees in the process of receiving another one. One in general ed, one in kinesiology, and a master's. About to have a master's in sports psychology.
Mhm.
I'm also academic success coach on the campus of UNCG, which is in Greensboro, University of North Carolina in Greensboro. I have a company called Guli LLC. We do inspirational T-shirts, and we also look to do mental skills coaching, um, and also we dabble in the fitness as well.
Gotcha.
I
Is
co
that your brand you got on there?
Yeah, that's the Guli brand.
I see it.
Yeah,
I see it.
that's the Guli brand.
That's what's
Um,
up.
yep. We recently started. When I say we, I mean me and my wife. We recently started a nonprofit called MAHAM,
Hmm.
Making Action Happen Abroad for Minorities, where we take underserved minorities, underserved youth, and minorities to experience living abroad or studying abroad, introduce them to studying abroad,
Hmm.
um, mainly in Europe right now, because those are the connections that we have, and so
Right.
we use Europe as a base, in particular Spain is one of our main places that we go every year. And so yeah, we look to inspire in all areas, man. Not in mental skills coaching as well as academic coaching and stuff like that. So yeah,
That's awesome.
that's some of the stuff that I do.
Gotcha. I'm glad you got the radio voice on for me. I'm like, man, I feel special. But I know to I learned about your nonprofit that you mentioned, and the fact that you're reaching out to un, underserved kids and minorities to expose them to, of all things, like going abroad. Why is it that you chose Spain?
Spain was a easy choice for us first because my wife already had connections in Spain. She studied
Mm,
abroad. And
okay.
so my wife, we were in college together back in the 90s. And when she left college, well, when she graduated, she took a year off to study abroad to figure out what she wanted to do because, she was she had went down one vein of
Mm,
learning and then was having, you know, changes of heart on what she should do with the information that she had with
mm,
all those years of study that she had been doing. Because, and so, yeah, I don't want to get it on her, but and so she went to Spain because of her second love besides biology was languages, and she had
mm.
been studying Spanish. I want to say since elementary school,
Gotcha.
and so she kept her studies up in college, and then she went abroad to Spain
Hmm.
because she found out about a program. Somebody came on her campus and told her about a study abroad program, and she had never known about that.
Hmm.
And it's not really a big thing amongst African Americans or minorities to study abroad.
Right.
Um, Information is not really available for us like they'll introduce to us like that. So, but she
Hmm.
did it, man. She fell in love, and that's really one of her bigger passions. It became her major passion to be in cultures and to learn about cultures and to learn about languages.
Right. Right.
And so Spain is her connection. That's where she went and she lived for a little while. And she made great friends and she made lifelong friends. And so when we decided to, her when she wanted to do her dream and trying to figure out where to go first, the first thing she did was reach back to Spain
Hmm.
because they had always kept connections over the years.
Right.
And so that made it easier for us to get in to
Awesome.
that particular area.
And how long have you guys been able to how long has the nonprofit been
It's
up
only
and
been
going?
only been up for 3 years. It's
Okay.
only been up for 3 years. It's very recent.
Gotcha.
We did an initial trip to go over and make connections
Hmm.
and meet with them and set everything up
Hmm.
and tour the area to make sure that it'll be something that we could trying to figure out how to map out stuff for the youth that would go over what would interest them,
Hmm.
what how would they would appreciate, so we had boots on the ground for a little while for
Hmm.
about 10 days, and then we came back and then we started fundraising,
Hmm.
started selecting kids the very next year, and we were able to take a group of kids over the very next year over, and it's just the rest is history from there. So we're gearing up right now for
Hmm.
another trip. We're gearing up right now for another trip. So
Oh, nice. When's the next trip?
it's in March.
Okay.
March.
March
Yeah, the trips to
2020.
Spain are, yep. The trips are always the trips to Spain are always in March because it falls around. We take them over doing a festival called La Fire and Mesleta,
Hmm.
and for them to really trying to suck in the culture as much as possible, because these are events that are specific only to that area of Spain and why they do it. It
Hmm.
is evolved around their politics. It's evolved around their way of life, and it's evolved around their family structures and all this stuff, man. So
Okay.
being able to engage in that and learn about that and see how they celebrate it
Right.
is very important for the trip
Hmm.
and for their understanding of that culture.
Gotcha. So I guess one of the main things is getting them, like you want to get the kids out of their environment and also like place them in another environment and kind of teach them an appreciation for like people that are different from themselves.
Absolutely, and the other thing is actually to start a thought process. That's the biggest thing. The exposure starts a thought process. Once the mind's expanded, it can never go back.
Mhm.
And
True.
so the first trip we took, the youth that went with us, they had never been on a plane before.
Mm.
Um,
Oh, wow. Yeah,
yeah,
I know
and
that
some
feeling.
Yep. And so they had never been on a plane before, and their first trip um out of the well, their first major trip was with us out of the country. They had went to, maybe a state or two away,
Hmm.
with the family for family reunions and stuff like that, but never anything as
Right.
major as this. So their first trip out of the country, their first, they didn't have passports, they didn't have any of those things. And so um our program not just doesn't just take them on take them on this journey to Spain, but we take them on a journey to life exploration,
Hmm.
where they have to go through the process of not just getting a passport. They have to go through the process of learning how to pack light. We teach them how to appreciate different cultures, what to
Hmm.
expect. Now have an open mind, um, social and personal and social responsibility comes out of that, out of the program. Also leadership.
Okay. That's that's awesome. I guess the I'm sorry if I get distracted because it's like I'm listening to you just like I'm just treating this as a conversation, not so much like
Oh, you're
for
good.
it's not so much formal. So I'm just trying to process what you said because like the big thing there is like you said you want them to have the exposure to really stretch their mind and really expand on like the way they think and they see things because what I've come to find is that like me myself personally, I'm not like born and raised in America, but like immigrating to the States and like learning the culture and things like that, it's it's different because you have to learn how other people like knowing something about other people is very important because it gives you an appreciation for who they are and kind of a respect for somebody outside yourself. So I think that that's very valuable that you're doing that. And um, I guess you could say going like is did I already ask you this? Like, is there a reason why you're like quote unquote going out of your way to help un, um, underserved youth to kind of give them the exposure that you've been fortunate to have?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. What really spurred it on is my wife.
Hmm.
She's not from the area, and so when
Okay.
she came down to the area after we got married, she would ask the kids questions like, "Okay, what's your plans for the future?"
Hmm.
And the kids would be like, "Well, I just wanna, I can't wait to graduate from high school to get my own apartment."
Hmm.
And that was like their final goal, was to graduate high school and get their own apartment, or not even graduate high school, but just to get their own apartment and get on their own,
Right.
you know. And she was like, "That's all you want to do? I mean, you have no aspiration for anything bigger than, And it was, it was it was shocking for her
Hmm.
to have, to hear the kids say that, because she's someone who's always traveled, she's always been exposed, and she's from New York, so she's always had other
Gotcha.
cultures,
Right.
and
Right.
always been exposed to different things. And
Right.
it's like everybody in that area, where she from, and
Yeah.
everybody she grew up with, they're all motivated to do other things to move on, because they get they're immigrant families.
Right.
And so immigrant families, you know how that is. Immigrant
Yeah.
families, you got to push. You can't come to America and just hang out. Apartment ain't
Right.
what it's
Right.
about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You you got to get some degrees. You got to get a
Yeah.
career. You got to, so her family had always pushed her along and pushed her along,
Gotcha.
um,
Okay. Okay.
which was even inspiring for me, because I had always wanted to do certain things,
Hmm.
but never had an example. Like I knew how to work.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I've been working since I was 10. So going out and getting a job, that's easy. I can
Hmm.
get 2, 3 jobs. You know what I mean? So,
Right. Right.
and I've worked various jobs, and I've always been able to make money like that. But
Hmm.
traveling, yeah, that was cool. I mean, I traveled around the states, but but everywhere I traveled was just like where I came from.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I was going from one hood to another hood,
Yeah.
or you know what I'm saying, from one, for lack of a better word, from one ghetto to another ghetto, or
Gotcha.
from one projects to another projects. You know what I'm saying? Different states.
Hmm.
And so for me, the world was a bunch of projects. You know what I'm saying? And so when she was like, "Yo, you want to go out the country?" I was like, "For what? I just go over there to see another project for." You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm going.
Right. Right.
All hoods are the same.
Right.
All hoods are the same. So, even for me, man, I didn't get a passport till I got married.
Mm.
You know, and I've been exposed to different cultures, you know,
Yeah.
but all of them was in the hood culture.
Got
You
you.
know what I'm saying? So the exposure that I got when I got my passport, I was like, oh, I thought I was alive at first,
Mm.
but now I got a ticket to the world. You know what I'm saying? So once that happened, man, it was on and popping, and
Nice.
yeah, but it's really her brainchild and her inspiration to do that
Mm.
and to bring these youth, man, into something different, to change their mindset, let them see a whole bigger picture, man, of how big the world is. You got to understand, my wife has traveled from Spain to Africa to the islands. You know, that's what she do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what she did as a child. And when she was studying abroad, she just didn't study in Spain. She stayed in Spain, but then she took trips all over the world. You know, from that point, because
Mm.
once you get to Europe, it's easy to travel. It's easier to travel around Europe than it is to travel around the States.
Right. Right. Because
You can
they're
get
just tight knit in there. You go
that
from France to, I mean, Spain to France to England, Germany, Austria, Italy, all that.
and cheaper.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's cheaper to fly, to move around Europe the way it's connected, than it is to move around the States. And
Mm.
so when she was over there, she went everywhere, man.
Gotcha.
And she just kept expanding her mind. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And so that's what she wants to do with the kids. Man. That's what we try and do with our own children, and also the children that come through our program. We just want to expand their minds. So it's more than just them going to Spain and eating some food and hanging out. It's like, yeah, I'm serious. It's like
Yeah.
I want them to hear the conversations that are taking place
Mm.
around them. You know what I'm saying? Because there's other people there
Yeah.
who are, or listen to all the languages or all the accents that you hear when you come there. Because when we go
Right.
there are people from all over the world that converge on the city of Valencia
Mm.
this time of year. I'm talking about tens of thousands of people that come together just for this celebration.
Right.
And who from Spain and live abroad now come back home to Spain, and they bring they foreign their other accents with them and the other languages with them. You know, we met a
Mm.
couple from London. When you met a couple from London, and we saw them the whole weekend we was there. Just kept running into these people, but they said they come every year. You know what I'm saying? So, and then we met some people on campus where we
Right.
stayed, because we stay at a campus,
Mm.
and there was some other kids that looked like them. Some other
Mm.
brown skinned kids that was on campus that was staying up studying abroad.
Yeah.
And the conversation that we had with them, because we were going one place on a bus, was all on a bus together, and these
Mm.
two young girls was going, but they had book bags and they had suitcases. It was like, where y'all going? Because we just going to the mall. I
Yeah.
was like, no, we going. They said they were going to catch the train to Valencia from where we were, to hop on a plane for the weekend to go to Amsterdam, and they're gonna come
Mm.
back. It was a weekend trip for them. And I was like, whoa, and I told the girl that was with us, I was like, yo, the kids, I said, y'all hear what she said? They finna hop on a plane to go to Amsterdam for the weekend and then come back. They're going to a whole other country
Right.
while they over here. You know what I'm saying? And she was like, oh yeah, we just, it was a little expensive. It was like 160 euros.
Mm.
And I was like, whoa, that's cheaper than it cost me to fly from Carolina to New York.
Right.
I can get to New York for that kind of price, Ash.
Right. Right.
And so I was, my mind was expanded every time I go over. My mind's expanded because I listen to conversations, I ask questions, and I just watch people.
Mm.
And there's a social aspect of observation, man, that cannot be underestimated.
Right.
And each time I go over, I learn something new just by watching people and
Mm.
watching how they act. You know what I'm saying? Watching, sometimes I can't understand the language, but I can understand the body language.
Gotcha.
You know,
Right. Right.
and so having the kids do that, and then coaching them on being observant,
Mm.
coaching them, I'm saying, just watch, just look at everything around, just watch stuff that's going on, I'm saying, ask a question,
Right.
just, kind of just nudging them along to expand their minds in more ways than in each way that they can when they go over,
Mm. Gotcha.
is very key. And so, yeah, but it was my wife's brainchild. And brown people that look like us are,
Mm.
is, I mean, we don't discriminate against anybody. Again, it's
Right.
underserved youth and minorities.
Right. Right.
So anybody in an underserved community is actually eligible to go.
Gotcha. So I mean, how
So
do you find the youth? Or,
We just promote ourselves, man, and put it out there. People say how hard we promote our program, let it be known. We
Hmm.
have a website. Um, right now, we've been just promoting in our own, small sphere of influence and our own little social area,
Gotcha.
which has paid off.
Hmm.
And a challenge to promoting it outside of our immediate area is transportation.
Okay.
And so, because we leave from where we're at
Yeah.
and go abroad, and so it'd be a challenge to bring other kids in from other states
Okay.
and try and coordinate that to meet them, because a lot of times it's their first time on a plane, it's their first time going anywhere,
Right.
and then they're underserved, so the money ain't there
Right.
for them. So we raise all the money.
Okay.
They bring in, they have to get $200 up. That's it for the whole trip.
Mm.
Everything else is taken care of by donors,
Right.
or by out of our pockets, or whatever. However we got to do it.
Right.
Um, but they're responsible for their own passport, and
Mm.
they're responsible for $200, and then that from there we handle the rest.
That's great,
We
man.
coordinate the rest. So but the challenge of outside of our sphere is just trying to bring the kids to where we are and then
Right.
fly out from there. So it's
Right.
just a
Right.
matter of logistics and funding for the logistics to bring the
Yeah.
kids in and stuff like that. It's
Right.
so
But man, you said you're 3 years in, and you guys have been able to make 2 or 3 trips so far for each year.
yeah. Well, we've made one trip a year
Okay.
so far, and we're gearing up for another trip. So this will be our third trip coming up.
Okay.
We've already got a partnership. We've already got schools reaching out to us to do another partnership with them, which will happen in different times of the year.
Okay.
So already for 2021, we are looking at 2 trips off for 2021.
Nice.
One in March again, of course, always to Spain,
Hmm.
and then we'll take another group of kids to Italy. We had a school in Italy reach out to us,
Right.
and they wanna partner with us. A school in Florence, Italy. And
Gotcha.
so we're looking to go to Florence, Italy in June, because there's a big festival. Again, we try and choose places where we can go,
Hmm.
and the time that we go is based around what a major festival for them, because you kind of get a look at what the inside of their culture,
Hmm.
like why they celebrating this thing, and why they celebrating this festival, why is it only in this part of the world, what's the significance of it, and
Right.
then and then what we learn is that, like, it's a whole family thing for them. So just
Right.
learning a different family dynamics, um, and different languages amongst the people amongst themselves,
Mm.
is extraordinary.
Gotcha. I, I guess one follow-up question I would have with that is, have you, as you're trying to help the underserved youth that don't have the exposure, like somebody's thinking, I just want to get out, like graduate and get an apartment because that's all I know, that's all I've seen around me. Um, how have you been able to help get kids into the program, or how have you been able to um, explain it to them that, hey, this is what I would like to do for you, like your wife was able to tell you, like, hey, let's go travel abroad, while you're thinking, oh, like, why am I going to go travel to go see another ghetto? And it's like, no, like, the world isn't just ghettos, it's like there's more out there.
That's a very good question. And in actuality, we've had kids turn us down. We
Mm.
just had a young man. We just had a young man who actually had um, I got a friend who wanted to sign up his nephew,
Hmm.
and it's a lottery pick. We don't just take because we know you, but it's a lottery pick. We have an interview process. It's just like, okay, you can go. No,
Yeah.
it's a lottery. It's an interview process,
Hmm.
and we talk with guidance counselors. We talk because we can't have certain behavior problems when
Right.
we go abroad. It's just too many dynamics to have to deal with,
Right. Right.
and prevent if we have behavior problems. So we can't take behavior problem children over
Gotcha.
at this time. But we are planning some stuff locally to try and target those individuals too.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
so right now, the individuals that we take over, um, they want to do stuff, they're just
Yeah.
not able to.
Okay.
It's different
That,
from me. I never wanted to really go. You know what I mean? I had no desire to go to Europe. You know what I
mhm.
mean?
Right,
I mean,
right.
you know, we wanted to go to Jamaica when we was kids because, you know, we was Bob Marley and Peter Tosh. You know what I'm saying? So, so that was the
Right,
spur. But Europe, man, I was like, oh, I want to go there for. You
right,
know what I'm
right.
saying? Really, nothing really go over there. But the children that we take over right now, they have somewhat of an idea, you know, of something beyond them, but they just don't see it.
Mhm.
For example, we had one young lady. We asked her, my wife is good at this. She'll say, "Okay, spin the globe," and spin it, and she'll say, "Now, tell me what you do. Now, put your finger on a place you want to go." And this one girl was like, I want to go to Paris.
Mhm.
I really want to go to France." My wife said, "So why don't you?" And she was like, because it's never going to happen.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm just never going to be able to go." And we was like, "Why not?" And she was like, "I don't know, but I just won't be able to go." You know, and she gave a few reasons why she wouldn't be able to go, you
Mhm.
know. And again, she comes from a community where, you know, a family where her mother's very protective of her, which is normal.
Right,
You know, her
right.
mama don't want to go too far out. You know, that's her baby, and she's like, "I don't know. You know, it's
Yeah,
dangerous out here in this world."
right,
Again, we from the hood. We from,
right.
you know what I'm saying?
Because all you know is like
Yeah, we ain't
it's
trusting that
it's
out there.
violent. Right,
All right, we ain't trusting that out there. So you got to keep them close.
right.
And so, so because I knew and we really wanted her to go, so we went through the interview process, and she was a great candidate for the interview. She's
Mhm.
very active in her school. You know, she is very active in her community. You know,
Mhm.
um, and but you know she just had some limitations on her that she couldn't get past.
Right.
And so we took her. I was able to talk to her mother, and the only reason she was able to go was because me and her mom grew up together. I grew up with her whole family. You know what I'm saying? So I knew
Okay.
them, and she made it a good
Right.
candidate, and everybody, the board passed her. So it's not just me passing her. We have
Right.
a board. We have a board of executives. They have to look over stuff, and they make
Okay.
their final decision.
So
And I was
it's
hoping,
the board for your nonprofit.
right, the board for my nonprofit, they do that.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
so I'm not on the board
Nice.
or any of that. You know what I'm saying? I just handle some other logistic stuff.
Hmm.
But they make the final decision, and she was a
Right.
great candidate, and so they chose her to go. And I was so very happy when I, passed it on to her mom. Her mom was extremely nervous. I mean, extremely nervous
Yeah.
about her going with us, but she trusted me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She trusted me. So, and she told the boys, the only reason my daughter going is because I know Eddie. That's
Yeah.
it. The rest, I don't, Eddie
Right.
going. If
Yeah.
Eddie going, then she can go. If I wasn't
Right.
going, she wouldn't be able to go.
Right. Right.
So of course I had to go. I go anyway for security purposes.
Yeah.
I handle some other logistics on that side too for them. And when she got there, the trip just expanded her mind in such a way. And she was very cool. She's very calm. She wasn't overexcited, but she was very observant. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Very, very intelligent young lady. She's very observant. And she was listening to conversation. She was doing all the things that I would want somebody who goes to do.
Right.
And she got out of it all the stuff that I would want somebody to get out of it to get.
Mm.
So much so when she came back home, her mom texts and says, "Okay, you brought back a different child. This is not my daughter." And we've been laughing ever since then. And because her daughter's mind's expanded, she told her mom, I'm studying abroad. I'm going back
Mm.
abroad to study. And if you want to keep up with me, you got to get
Yeah.
your passport and come with me.
Right.
And her mom had never been on a flight before either. And
Mm.
so since she's came back, her mom is taking 2 flights,
Nice.
but not abroad, but just local. But
Right.
she's
Right.
got on the plane, and taken, a couple of flights out
Right.
to other states. And when her family was talking about doing a cruise now, just again, just expansion of the mind and
Right.
going beyond your limited, what you think is your limited possibilities,
Hmm.
and now, her mind is that the world is unlimited.
Right.
Like there's nothing holding her back now,
Mm.
you know. And so, yeah, that's just one of the things that one of the stories of one of the children that came through our program is able to do.
That's
You know,
amazing.
so that, again, to answer your question, um, the kids who we take,
Hmm.
their mind isn't as limited as mine was,
Right.
but it hasn't fully expanded yet either.
Okay.
So they don't fully they want to do some stuff, but they
Yeah.
don't think they can.
Right.
They can appreciate a little bit of it, but they don't see how they're going to be able to pull this off.
Hmm.
And so in our program, not only do we take them, but we also show them how they can do it on their own.
Right.
Like there's grants and programs out there for minorities to study abroad,
Hmm.
specifically for minorities because it's such an untapped um, population of people that
Yeah.
study abroad. There's actually money set aside, if people don't realize, for
Right.
kids to
Right.
go who are minorities to go and study abroad.
Yeah.
There's programs begging for you to come out there and study in their programs.
And what's funny also with like the term minority, even if you're just looking at black people or African American, it's like
Mm-hmm.
when you go abroad, especially if you go to any country within the continent of Africa, it's like you're not the minority. And like when you go there, you're the majority. And it's like everybody looks like you and everybody's like, oh man, welcome home. It almost reminds me of this time when in college, I was very I was very frustrated with myself that I didn't do the study abroad, but I was kind of on a fast track to like get in, get out, get the degree, like set myself up to get a job, to like make opportunities in the future to be able to travel like maybe once a year or like once in a blue moon to go out of the country or even travel within the states and not have to do like a long like 9-hour trip. But I remember since I couldn't study abroad, I was like, let me join a different um, group, like school group organization within the campus, because I studied civil engineering, and I was like, let me
Mm-hmm.
do something that's more sociable. So then I went and I joined the National Society of Black Engineers. I like,
Oh, okay, Nesby.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
NESB.
yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
I went there for like the first two meetings, but I couldn't keep up with it because I had to like lock down on because I decided to do this my very last semester. And as soon as I walked in, I was like, oh my God, it's like I missed out. But at least hey, I got it, I got my foot in the door. And like as soon as I walk in, everybody's like, wait, you go here? It's like, where you been? It's like we
Right,
lost one. Hey, come here, come here,
right. Come
come
here.
here.
Right,
And it's
right.
like, man, like just being around people that look like you, it's like it's very empowering. And just seeing people that are able to expand their mind, it's a great thing because it's and it's not even like you say, it's important to get around different cultures, because for
Mm-hmm.
me, like being in the black community or around other African Americans, like literal definition and like I guess the term you use in America now, it's like it's a different culture for me, because even though I grew up mostly in America, I didn't
Mm-hmm.
like my parents aren't American, and it's like I'm not like I'm a naturalized citizen, but like you just do things differently. Like I know Bob Marley because I heard somebody else play it, and like every now and then I might play "Don't Worry, Be Happy," but I don't think that's Bob Marley. See, there I even messed that up. But it's like just kind of having a chance to like peek on the other side of the fence and be like, oh, okay, so that's what's going on over there. And then um, I think BK maybe mentioned this before, like understanding this. How would you say code switching? Almost like
Mm.
hearing the way that people talk and understanding why it is that they talk the certain way. And when you
Mm-hmm.
actually give somebody the time of day to like not prejudge them, you're like, oh, okay, like they may have said it in a broken sense, but like I got the point of what they said. Like this is the way that somebody talks. And for me, the reason I can understand people is because I understand like articulation, because that's how I had to learn the language. And anybody that's foreign that's trying to speak English, I can usually pick up on what they're saying, because I'm like, okay, they hit this word. Like if I did a dissertation or something on it, I'm sure it would click. But every time it's like you're around, your parents are foreign, like most of the extended family is Cameroonian, Nigerian,
Mm-hmm.
people from everywhere. Like going to college or even in elementary school is being around people from like Pakistan, India, um, Israel, like Arabian. Like just we just had this nice mix, like you're talking about in New York, where people have different accents, but when they're saying certain words, things just pop out. And I guess I said all that to say it's really great what you're doing with that program and putting it around kids, because it's like the earlier you can get the information, the more it'll like the better it'll do for you, and then you can kind of spread it out to your friends, but not just getting caught up on the idea. Like the idea is great because then it allows you to think, okay, like this is going on and that's going on, but wait, why aren't we doing it differently? Because I saw another human over there doing it differently. They might be a different skin color or they might talk differently, but they had hair. It might be different, but I mean, they had teeth, they had eyes, they had ears. They weren't alien. Like it kind of moved and looked like me. It's like, so why can't I not do that? And getting around people like yourself, it's really, I think that's really important and that's really powerful where you're about communication and like just doing this. It's I guess you just say the words authentic where you be yourself and you surprised to see what happens. And also when you allow um like when you allow your mind to be changed or you allow people to influence you, it only grows like who you are as a person.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, once the mind expands, man, it can never go back. Even, but that's a negative side. There's a negative side to that too, because whatever we learn, we don't forget.
Right.
We may push it to the side. So there's experiences that some of these kids have and the kids that I have a passion for. The kids that I have a passion for, are those that have experiences that don't allow them to be able to go in our program.
Mm.
Because it has triggered some behavior responses that we just couldn't deal with in international settings,
Right.
or on planes and stuff like that, where it's just a little bit more um, reserved, have to be a little bit more reserved.
Gotcha.
So yeah, man, once the mind's expanded, it can never go back. There are, and I do volunteer at the local jail to
Mm-hmm.
try and deal with some of that population or people um, who have had some behavior issues or misunderstandings in life that led them the wrong way.
Mm.
And it's a lot of times it's our environment and being around who we were around,
Right.
being
Right.
influenced by our peers, who they were influenced by, or being
Mm-hmm.
influenced by our parents and who they were influenced by.
Correct.
When you can understand the dynamics of human behavior, man, and why it happens,
Yeah.
as a mixture of that person and their environment, their DNA, their biology, and
Mm-hmm.
then their surrounding. And that plays a big part. What plays that big part in behavior, and then understanding that gives you a better um, gives you a more enlightened way of looking at people.
Right.
You know, more way of like looking at people. And that's what that's the aspect I come from when we study abroad. Even when I deal with people, when I do academic coaching, when I talk to
Mm-hmm.
these young people, I work with first year students. Some of them are like myself, first generation college students.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So they're going for one, they're going to school for their parents.
Right.
And some of them don't even really like. I got one friend. One young lady. She was there because her parents wanted her to go to school, but she was actually through with school.
Mm.
And then as we got to talk more, as our coaching sessions went on, because I meet with them every other week.
Mm-hmm.
As our sessions went on, I realized that that she wanted to do actually that the thing that she wanted to do really in life
Mm-hmm.
involved her having to go to school.
Mm.
But then she felt like she wasn't capable of doing the thing that she wanted to do. I was and I was surprising, which is not surprising to me because there's this war we have, a lot of people have inside of us, um, and it's based on a lot of times based on language and
Mm-hmm.
exposure. The language that we hear as children coming up, the things we've exposed to in our house, the language
Right.
we've been exposed to, not just somebody telling to us,
Yeah.
but the language that's being talked around us as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and she wanted to be one thing, but then she said, well, because her dream was to be this thing. Like this was something that she, her was put in her head,
Right.
and I know because I'm talking to her that this wasn't something that somebody else put in her. It was something that she put in her head that
Mm-hmm.
she wanted to do. So she was just like, it's this dream that she has, right? Or this gift that she may have,
Mm-hmm.
and she doesn't feel equipped to
Right.
fulfill her gift.
Mm.
And it was like, ooh, she's not able to unwrap this gift that's in her. And
Yeah.
so she's now in school, but now she's in school. As we talk more, she's in school for herself. And when I found this particular thing out, what she really wanted to do, and then feel the path that she was on,
Mm-hmm.
I was able to give her some information or to open her mind up to another possibility within the career field that she's choosing to get her back to where her passion is.
Mm.
And so it's just having these conversations and saying, okay, man, somebody told her that she couldn't do this. Somebody told her she wasn't built for this,
Right.
or her experience in school with schoolwork, because the path that she wanted to go on, it's a load. It's a load,
Mm.
but it's
Right.
doable because
Right.
somebody else is doing it.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It's plenty folk doing it. It's
Yeah.
doable, but she didn't feel like she could do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because of her experience with academics, you know what I'm saying? And so and that could be, I don't know if she had tutoring, I don't know if people tried to pour into her. I don't know what her teacher said to her, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know what her family said to her, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
Because sometimes we talk in twofold. We have these positive conversations with negative connotation,
Mm.
right? And so we tell our kids you can do anything, but then
Right.
at the same time we use language that limit them on what they can do.
Yeah.
And it's very confusing to you as you grow up. Well, I can do anything, but I can't do that.
Right.
Or I can do anything, but I can't do that. And
Yeah.
then that's like, nah, it doesn't work that way,
Right.
you
Right.
know. And we have to figure a different way to have language or have conversations with our kids. It's just not in the minority communities either. And that's what I realized when I went abroad the first time to Spain. I really wanted to look at these, see really what was going to be important about this, because I'm putting my own personal funds into this thing. So I
Mm-hmm.
got to really make sure, okay, what are they going to really get something out of this? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
And so I'm watching people intently. Like I'm intense with looking at people and watching what they do, how they interact with their family, and being able
Mm-hmm.
to go over at this time is different. You know what I'm saying? You get a really glimpse. And we stayed in a small city. When we went, we
Mm-hmm.
didn't stay in the big city, Valencia. We stayed in Sagunto, which is a
Mm.
smaller city, a very family-oriented city.
Mm.
And I watched them, Asher, and I was like, oh, I got it. And it was a different conversations that I didn't understand what they were saying, but I watched their body language with the kids.
Yeah.
And it was a different conversation they were having. It was a different freedom that they had. It was a different
Like what was different?
actions. So for example, well, there was a bar or
Mm-hmm.
like a little club right below our apartment window where we stayed at.
Right.
And I watched these little kids, and then as their family was in the bar, the little kids were sitting outside, throwing firecrackers, it's festival time, whatever, like
Mm-hmm.
that. And I watched the freedom that they had, and I watched the interaction the parents had with them. There was no limit on really what they could do.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, you can pop the firecracker, but just make sure you don't throw it over there, because this is what would happen if you throw it over there.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? But still pop the firecracker.
Right.
But
Right.
let's be careful of the people around us.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So there was no limit, and they was outside by it with a box of them. I mean, little
Yeah.
kids, like I'm talking about like 4-year-old kids with a box of firecrackers, just lighting them and tossing them joints.
Right.
We would never do that here.
Mm-hmm.
Not a 4-year-old. We wouldn't give a 4-year-old a box of firecrackers and say, "Hey,
No.
have at it." We
Right.
scared he gonna blow his hands up. But
Right. Right.
they had been doing. What I realized is that the child had so much exposure to it that it was normal. It was natural.
Mm.
Like the parents had coached them through. Okay, no, you light it and you throw it away because you may blow your hand up.
Right. Right.
Or they've shown them what happened to your hand. Like, blow that up. Okay, now that's what happened to your hand if you hold it in your hand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they've had this conversation with them multiple times over a period of time. And I realized that just for that one instance, okay, this child had to have some exposure beforehand to be able to handle himself with these fireworks. They didn't throw it at each other, and the ones that do it at each other, they knew, you know what I'm saying? Oh, these are smaller ones. They'll pop them on the ground by their feet.
Right.
So, that stuff like that. But again, these were real small kids. And then there were older kids who were in, when they come through with like the bands, like the family and the clubs had their own bands, and they would make these statues they would do for all year long. But the people who made the statues, they were not only were they family, but they all went to church together. They all ate together. They all, all year long, it's what they did. So there's this sense of community amongst them they all had their own banners and everything, man. It was really elaborate.
Nice.
And I was watching, and then when I went and just walked down the street, by myself, I just started walking down the street because I had to go find me a gym while I was over there. So I found a gym,
Mm-hmm.
and went to the gym. I was having conversations with people. And I realized, okay, everybody, you may think some people are rude with the way they act, but they're not rude. That's just how they are. Like everybody was that same way with each other.
Yeah.
And it was no big deal.
Mm-hmm.
You walking in the crowd and somebody bump you, they don't even turn around. They just keep walking like, oh, it's normal. You know what I'm saying? Like, we ain't saying excuse me because I bumped you and you bumped me. We just keep it moving. It's part of moving over here.
Yeah.
And so just being in that atmosphere, where a bump didn't mean a fight.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because over here, you bump somebody, it's like, hold on, what's the deal?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You ain't had always, and it wasn't like that over there. Not to say that every place is like that over there.
Right.
It's just that I observed some stuff in the dynamics of people that I realized that we have not been allowed to be exposed to. And having that exposure changes how we view things. You know what I'm saying? So it gave me an epiphany when I was over there. I was watching intently, and I told my wife, I got it. I realized, and I did not understand any of the language. I promise you, I don't speak Spanish. My family does, but I don't speak Spanish at all. Right? I can count to 10. I can say hello, and I can say goodbye. Right? Matter of fact,
that's as much as me. I don't even know if I can count to 10 anymore.
Look, when we go over there, I don't say a word. I let everybody else ask questions. I just sit and I watch. That's what I do. I just watch. Now, I need to learn how to speak language, sure.
Yeah.
But I watch. I'm very observant. I'm good at that. And I watch body language and faces. And I listen to tone of voice.
Right.
So if things go out of the way, I'm ready. This don't sound right. This don't sound right. So
yeah.
And it don't look right. But what I realized though is there was a conversation between people, parents and children, that how do I put it? That the haves are having and the have-nots are not.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Right. So there's a language, but type of conversations that people are having with their children,
right?
That are successful.
Yeah.
And they're doing nothing special. The children aren't doing anything special.
Right.
They're just doing what they've been exposed to do.
Right.
And they're being successful, financially, or they're being successful, business-wise in the world.
Yeah.
Right. Social, they're being successful socially.
Yeah.
And it's nothing. It's like for them not to be successful would be foreign.
Right.
Because it's been implanted in them. These are the conversations at the table. These are the conversations that they have amongst each other. These are the conversations that parents have with the kids, right? So people wonder why Warren Buffett is so rich, right? And it's just a side note. Warren Buffett said, my father did me a favor. He gave me some money when I was 6 years old and taught me how to trade stock. 6 years old. Here's a dinner conversation at 6 years old. We're talking about stocks at 6 years old.
Right.
He's been learning stocks since he was 6. So it's no wonder he's making good investments.
Right.
But that's the language that he's used to. So anything outside of that would be abnormal for him. Right. And so here's a language that we're giving our children that are actually holding our children back.
Right.
We think we're pushing them forward, but we're actually holding them back from the language, from the conversations that we're not having with them.
Right. And that's a great point, because like you said, the haves are having conversations with their children that leads them to have more, because the conversations that they're having are, if it's in the Spanish culture, dealing with the family respect, like they have the certain family values, like they value their family. So you know who your brothers are, your sisters, or your parents, your uncles, your aunts, and even like no matter what they may be, like you accept them for that. And it's like, okay, like here in the States, a lot of people look at the Latino population or Mexican population because it's the closest country that borders the US. And what I grew up around, like here in North Georgia, the population is elevated. But since I grew up with a lot of Latino friends and a lot of Mexican friends, like I knew to appreciate them because I was like, okay, we go to school together, we play sports together. Like, I understand on the day to day, hey, I have as much homework as you have. And if I'm getting yelled at, you're getting yelled at. Like, if we're doing something good, like we're complimenting each other. But looking at it from at least at the adults, or looking at it as is portrayed in media, a lot of times you have this spin where it's like it's always negative.
Mhm.
And it's like, okay, these people are not doing this, or this person's not doing that. And for me personally, whenever I see things like this, from my personal experience, I'm just like, that's not my reality. So I don't want to dismiss what you're saying, but I'm not going to blindly accept it, because what you're doing is, like you pointed to, it's limiting the possibilities. It's like, okay, you want to look at a group of people as just not productive, as this, as that. But I'm like, okay, let's go out on a job and see who wants to do the work. Like, this person shows up, and I'm not going to get into any politics or anything, but it's like, for me, I've worked in construction within the last 8 years. And before that, I did landscaping. Like, my first job was landscaping. I worked in a coffee shop to kind of take a break there and try and save up for college. But then during college breaks, I would go back and do landscaping again until I got a co-op to start like construction engineering and get in there. But as you'd see different people, it's always the people that are foreign or the outsiders that are taking pride in what they do, because they
Mhm.
understand that I have to do this to feed my family, and I'm not doing this simply for the fact of me. And also, something to the compliment of people like Warren Buffett that grew up with those values, that they understand why it is that they work. Like, the people at the top, they don't sit around and complain that, oh, I'm at the top, like this person's trying to get this. Like, if they see that somebody's trying to take from them, like, they'll put themselves in a position to keep what they have. And like, as I start seeing the conversation and start getting exposed to different people like yourself, like ET, like Gary V, Joe Rogan, like different people that are just like different from me, but I hear what they're saying and I'm actually taking the time to listen. It's like, oh, okay, like there's levels to life, there's levels to game, there's levels to whatever it is that you want to focus on. But the important thing, like you said, is having the conversations that talk about, hey, let's talk about your mental health. Let's talk about your spiritual health, and not just like a religion or a tradition that you need to do every day, but let's actually talk about how this is going to apply to you stepping outside, and how it's not just like something you have to do, but how it's going to grow you as a person. And then you will grow, like if you grow as a person, you feel better. Like, if you're feeling better, you're looking better, like then you're in a better position to help somebody else. And then getting around people that talk about like emotional health, financial health, physical well-being, um, and all those things, and you're like, okay, like if I have the balance of these things, then like you see the world a little bit differently, to where even back to your point earlier about being able to see things in a different environment. For me, just I grew up for the most part in the state of Georgia, but then once I got to travel with work, we would go to different states within the Southeast. And my first work assignment for my full-time job was assigned to, forgive me if I say this wrong, but it's the state that's abbreviated with LA, and I'm going to say it's Louisiana. If I
Yeah,
butch,
Louisiana.
yeah,
Yeah,
if
Louisiana. You good?
Louisiana, if I
Yeah.
butchered it, I'm sure somebody's just
It's
gonna be like
okay.
shaking their finger at me. But
Yeah.
one thing that I learned about the state is that they're more. It's like it's in the South, but it's a different kind of South. Like, once you cross Mississippi and you go over there and into Texas, like, just every state has its own culture. But I noticed that, okay, one thing that they're very fond of is like they have great food. Like, you go to Louisiana, like you're gonna have great food. You got the boudin, you got the jambalaya, like all that stuff. Like, they do it up. And also, initially, my experience wasn't the best, because I felt like I saw more black people, And I was like, initially I was like, oh wow, like there's more people here, but I just got this negative connotations where people always just seem mad and they just seemed in a down state. But then I began to understand that they were like in a not so good environment, and that kind of reflected how they behaved. So after I spent like 4 months in Lake Charles, I was like, okay, I never want to return to Louisiana again. Like I was like, if I could just get out of here, like send me anywhere. I don't, I don't want to be here. And then I get the news that, hey, guess what? You're going to be staying in Louisiana for another year, not 6 months, another year. And I was like, man, I was so mad. And it was like in Donaldsonville. It's a small city between Baton Rouge and New Orleans.
Mm.
And I was so I was just like mad, mad, mad. But somebody reminded me, it's like, hey, you're going to be doing a construction project. So you'll be able to actually work on the field and get exposure, not just drawing something on a piece of paper, but actually be there and see like what gets drawn on a piece of paper get built up in front of you. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, that's a good point. And from there, I'm supposed to go to Houston for like 2 weeks of time. 2 weeks turns into a month and a half. So then I get like this kind of surprise, unexpected vacation where I go to the office 40 hours a week, but then on the weekend I almost have like a close to a 3 day weekend, because before I was working 6 days a week, every single week, like 50 or 60 plus hours with like little break. But anyways, I said all that to say, when I finally got back to Louisiana and the new city where I was at, I think it was actually St. James, which is they're right next to each other. I happened to meet like the kindest family next door. It was a mother, father, and a daughter that was a few years younger than me. And initially, as I'm moving in, I wave over to them. I'm just like, hey, I started walking towards them to introduce myself. And the dad immediately was just like, there won't be any trouble over here. And I was like, nope, nope, no trouble from me. I just saying hello, your new neighbor. I'm going to be working at the plant over there. And as he kind of absorbed me, go to work, come back, do what I needed to do, we became like very good friends, to where I started helping him like learn how to use a computer. And I quickly learned that the reason why he was kind of off, like uh, what's the word, standoffish, was that he was an ex cop. So it's like he's always watching people and observing people. But at least what I learned from that family, where initially I thought that, oh, this is just all negative, I immediately saw that like they have that family aspect that you find in the Latin culture, where
Mm.
you have the mom, dad, and daughter, like they all get along, like they can have like a drink together of alcohol. And it's like Louisiana is a party state, but when people come together in family, like they party responsibly. Like if they want to go to the casino, for instance, like okay, like the daughter says to mom, hey, I'm gonna go here, and then dad says, okay, make sure you got what you need. And like just seeing how they operated gave me a better view to just not judge the entire state from one experience I had in another city. And then just like seeing little experiences like that, it kind of just says, okay, don't prejudge a book by its cover.
Yeah. Hey, Asher, can you still see me?
Yes, sir. You're good.
Okay, because something happened with my thing and I can't see you. But we're good. As long as
Oh,
you can see me, we're
yeah,
good. I
yeah,
can't see
yeah.
you though. Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. I got a call that came in and messed up the screen.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, we're good though. As long as you can see me, we're fine.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, and I don't want to paint Europe like this great place, um, but I do. I don't want to paint Europe as this great place, but I do. Like this the world. Everything I saw over there was hunky dory.
Hmm.
But I was able to get in certain circles that I normally wouldn't be invited to here in the States. And so I was able to
Hmm.
see those things that I saw and experience those things that I experienced. And see those conversations in
Yeah.
body language and attitude and stuff like that with people. And then to uh, um, because because somebody's successful in business doesn't mean they're successful in their marriage, or
Right.
doesn't
Our
mean their
family.
characters or family and stuff like that. But it was just conversation. I realized that same kind of conversation has to happen in all aspects of our life as we deal with each other. Like
Right.
we have
Right.
to have those conversations about about how to have good mental health, the things that help sustain mental health, and not just at a adult level, but like with my kids, I have to have those conversations. Like, look, you don't want to do this, or you may want to think about exposing yourself to this right here, because here's the effects that it's known to have on people.
Mm.
Like giving them that information. Like, okay, you may want to think about who you hang out with in a way, because you know they're going to influence how you act. They're going to
Right.
influence some of the things that you do. um and so you have to you know just have these healthy conversations, where it gives them unlimited possibilities in not only business but also in character development, and also social standing, and also mental health, and just show
Right.
them these openings and these things that they can do, and the possibility that they have
Mm.
in those areas. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Kind of give them, okay, like Warren Buffett's father gave him the money but taught him how to use it in a
Mm.
particular way. All
Right.
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 And so there's some capital that our children already have.
Right.
Right. There's capital that we are born with, but we just don't
Mm.
know how to use that capital in the right way. The first capital that we have is a sound mind. If we got a sound mind come out the gate, you know,
Yeah.
we have a lot of capital to work with. But
Right.
now, helping them use and keep their mind sound, that's different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so that's learning how to use that capital. So him giving his son the capital, that money, and then showing him how to make that money make money.
Mm-hmm.
But if we take and we have we take a child with a sound mind, and then we teach them how to keep their mind sound, and
Mm.
through relationships, because all these things affect the way we think, and relationships with people,
Right.
relationships with these different relationships we have in life, whether it's with people, school, academics, or
Mm.
exposure to different things. You know what I'm saying? Relationships with money, relationships with clothes, relationships with social, especially social media.
Mm.
How do our kids relate with social media? What is their relationship with that thing? You
Yeah.
know, what value do they place on social media, and information they get from that social media?
Right.
All those things, can influence, a child's or a person's um, sound, having a sound mind,
Mm.
you know, and so a sound mind is more apt to make sound decisions,
Right.
and that's what it is, man. Just helping to make sound decisions um, through endless possibilities, like way more options than we already think we have,
Right.
you
Right.
know. And that's what it is, man. Just giving them more options to choose from, and then helping them choose which options they want to take,
Mm.
and how that will look down the road for them.
Right. That's awesome. I guess because it's funny. I think we met for the first time in person last year when we went to New York. Or
No,
no,
I
no, no,
I
no.
met you. I met you in Atlanta at a
Was it
conference. Yeah, I met you in Atlanta in a conference at one of E's conference at
was
ET's
it
conferences.
was it then or was it before then at the retreat that we had
No,
last year?
no, 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 no,
Because
no,
it
no.
was way back,
It was way back. Yeah, it was
like
way back. Uh,
2016.
yeah, somewhere like that. Yeah,
Okay,
I
okay,
met you at a conference in Atlanta. As I
okay.
was down there, I was down there for two conferences. There was one for Mason, and I was
Hmm.
down there for one for E.
Okay, got
And
you.
so I had hit Mason's conference that morning, and then I hit
Mm,
E's conference later that afternoon.
got you.
But I
Well,
met you at E's conference. You came and
right,
introduced
right.
yourself.
Got you. Okay. Man, I feel like I might need to check my memory bank to be like,
No,
okay,
it was a quick meeting. Yeah, I was with
right,
some
right,
people. Quick, hey, my name's Asher. Hey guys,
yeah,
you know how people do an e-conference. You
right,
kind of
right,
network right quick,
right,
and
right,
then
right, right. You're right.
things you jump in and you jump out. You know what I mean? And it was that kind of thing. You jumped in and
Oh,
you
okay,
jumped
okay.
out.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
you jumped in.
right.
My name's Asher. You know what I'm saying? And I remembered you from then.
Hmm.
And we really connected at the men's retreat, and then we wound up
Right,
in New
right.
York.
Well, I think the reason I brought up New York was that that was a time when we actually got to hang out like
Yes.
for
Yeah, yeah,
over a
yeah, yeah,
period
yeah,
of a
yeah,
day
yeah.
because it's like
Yeah, absolutely.
we went up there for another one of E's conference and everybody's probably going to be listening to this like who's this E character they keep mentioning. It's Eric Thomas, the hip hop
Yeah, yeah,
preacher.
yeah. Yeah,
And
yeah.
so he was having a conference up in New York, Ignite the Dream. So
Mhm.
we I think I'd reached out to you beforehand because I wasn't even thinking about it, but one of the guys, Mike from the prayer line, he was willing to host us up in New York,
Yep,
and
yep.
I
Shout
didn't
out to
even know
Mike.
that. Like going back to that exposure and like you don't know what you don't know. Like for the longest time, I thought that people that were saying Newark were just mispronouncing New York. I was like,
Uh-huh.
but then when I'm starting to look it up for the plane ticket, I'm like,
Yeah,
oh
Jersey.
snap!
Yeah,
I'm
Newark.
like, it's a
Yeah,
city,
Newark.
it's
Yeah.
Jersey, and they're right there, right next to each other. And
Right, right, right.
just
Right, right, right.
that whole experience was just it was amazing because for me, I've been like when you even mentioned the mental health thing, like I wasn't aware of like what mental health really is. I've heard people talk about like you have to be mentally tough, but it's not like for me it wasn't until something happened that like pushed me to the edge where I got stressed and then I wasn't sure how to deal with it. And anytime people talk about either medication or talking to psychologists or like basically going to um, like addressing an issue that comes up, whether it's severe or just minor, but at least understanding that just like you have a doctor for your aches, your pains, like your cuts, your bruises, like the things that you can see, like a lot of times it's easy to just say, oh, like I got to go get that fixed. But as soon as like something isn't processing in your mind, like for me in my head, it was just like, oh, well, I already don't like going to the doctor. And then you want me to go talk to this doctor or this person that has a license and I'm just supposed to tell them my problems. Like, that's weird. Like, I don't know that person. But like having committed to that process over the summertime from when we met at the retreat to meeting again in December, it was just like during that period of time, like I committed to saying, okay, I'm gonna do some work, talk to somebody, and just allow myself to actually open up and say how I feel because I've been going through this thing where I would just listen to other people, and then they would just I would always let other people unload on me, and I just thought, oh, that's natural. Like you're just supposed to like be courteous, be kind, be this, be that, and all the while I didn't realize that if you just let people pile on top of you, eventually like you're going to break unless you do something as like an outlet to be able to sustain that, and that's not even something smart to sustain, but
Right,
I said all that to
right.
say that made that the time in New York that we met in person and being able to spend time with you, Mike, Royce, and just going from like him showing us like his neighborhood around there, like his hospitality, like the conversations, just being able to have from you guys, like being on the line every day, like throughout the week, and then like meeting in person, going and eating together, like going and meeting. Was it Dewan that's in Manhattan?
Yeah, the one. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like
Matunka.
seeing him and like going to the vegan spot, I was like, okay, like these guys are always talking about vegan food. It's like, what's a vegan chicken nugget? And I tried, and I'm like, I'm like, okay,
Right, right,
this
right,
is
right.
different. Like I eat
Right,
clean
right.
food, but like somebody like this isn't food. This is something else. Like other vegan stuff I've tried, it hadn't been the best. And like, okay, there's
Right,
this souffle that
right,
somebody made. I was like, this is blowing my mind right now. And then we
right,
go
right,
down to Manhattan, like on Times Square. I think that'd been like maybe the
right.
second time I'd been there. And being with a different group of people, we're walking where it's like it's kind of dead, but we're looking at it and like, oh, I wonder, think about what it takes to keep all these lights on. Because the other time that I was there, or previously, if I would have gone, I would have just been thinking, oh, wow, look at the pretty lights, which I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, we went there to like relax, to rest, but as we're thinking, our minds are just processing, like, man, look at that. And then we see the guy that's over there working out and we're like, whoa, what? It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, with the clown mask on. Yeah, yeah,
oh
yeah,
my god.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I think either you pointed it out or Royce pointed it out, and it was like, whoa, what is my dude doing? He's out here, clown mask on, he's glistening in like 50-degree weather. He got the
Yeah,
music, the music going, and it's like,
yeah.
what's going on? And we're like, hey, that's his hustle.
That's his hustle, yo. Yep,
That's his job.
yep,
Like he's
yep.
he's doing his thing, and it's like, man, like somebody else may look at that and just be like, oh, this is a bum out here trying to get money, but it's like you can see it that way, but there's more than one perspective to it. And then somebody else may have mentioned, okay, that's like his hustle, but I wonder if he's thought about like capturing it with social media, like capturing it with the camera, putting it up on social
Right,
media, like
right, right, right,
networking, doing
right,
this, and then all of a sudden
right.
it's like once you start to think differently, you like get a new car, or like you get like what is it, a gearbox. Maybe you had like three
Yeah,
gears at first, but now you
yeah.
understand you got like four and five, maybe even six. You're like, ooh, I can go over in this lane, do this, go over here, do this. But like, I can do more with this car than what I thought I could do.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that trip right there was again, uh BK dubbed me a socialpreneur, meaning like a social entrepreneur, because
Yeah.
I love learning from people and learning from environments. I love observation. It's I can't as a child I've always been observant. Always sat back and watched
Mm.
people and things, and a lot of my learning comes from watching.
Right.
Um,
Right.
being in exposure. So just watching, just out interaction. Like you said, everybody was looking at the lights. At one time we was on a big screen, because there's a
Right.
camera
Right.
from the
Right.
building that point down. We was on the side of a building at one time.
Yeah. We're like, look at
And
that.
right, right. So we looking at the lights, but then when you look up under the lights, you see all the other things that are happening in Times Square
Mm.
that people don't normally see. You know what I'm saying? You see the homelessness, you see the dirt, the clutter,
Mhm.
you see the police officers with the M16s or 8 You know what I'm saying? You
Like
see all
they're
that, you
getting
know,
ready to protect the Starbucks. It's like, oh, you're good.
right.
Just go in there. Nobody's gonna hurt you.
Nobody's gonna go home in the Starbucks. I'm good. I got 5 police outside with battle gear on. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So, but the stuff that you normally don't see because you're always looking up. And just taking time out not to be caught up in the lights and the glitz and the,
Mm.
and the glamour. You know, but in that moment, man, was cool for us.
Yeah.
It was very eye opening for me because on TV, I'm like, oh man, Times Square's a place to be. Then I'll look down, I was like, oh man, Times Square like everywhere else. It just got
Yeah.
lights covering it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Saying it's got poverty, it's got all this stuff going on. It's got cats that doing a hustle, they trying to work. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? The dude with the clown mask, working out.
Yeah.
Out there sweating 50-degree weather. He making money. We taking
Yeah.
pictures with him. You know what I'm saying? And giving him money for the pictures. You know what I'm saying? He
Right.
making money. Then the dude who dressed like your boy from Back to the Future.
Yeah. Doc.
Yeah,
He
Doc.
had
He
the DeLorean done up.
the DeLorean done up with cell phones and all. When you look a closer look at it, was like, oh,
Yeah.
I see what he
You're right.
did. But from
From a
far
distance, it looked real sweet, but then
it
you're
looked
like,
real sweet. But when you
yeah.
walk up on it, was like, oh, that's what he did.
Yeah.
I'm not knocking what he doing.
Right.
He
Right.
was making money. He had a little bucket in there. It was, pictures with him. He
Hmm.
had that whole dress on. You know what I'm saying? So people getting their hustle on, people doing their thing, and they being creative with it, man. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? They're just not limiting themselves.
Gotcha.
Because dude with the mask on could have been somebody who was fresh out.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? No, okay, what do I do? You know what I'm saying? Do I go sell dope? Do I do
Yeah.
I do I stick somebody up? How can I get a job? Nobody want to hire no felons. So
Mm.
I got a clown mask and an old tore up suit and I got a beatbox. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? I got a boom box.
Right.
He out there working out, man, doing what he know how to do,
Right.
doing what he know how to do.
And
And
it's like, why not get paid for it?
why
Otherwise,
not get paid for it? Make this thing a
you might
novelty.
be working in your basement, like nobody sees you. It's like, hey, I can do this. Like,
Right.
let me go out here.
Absolutely, man. And he was out there doing his thing and getting it in, man, and making a few dollars. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? He wouldn't hurt nobody. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? He would inspiring people to go work out. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it was a great experience. We had a chance. Me, you had a chance to sit down at Mike's crib and talk too,
Mm.
and that was a great experience for me as well to get to know you more, and your background and family history and stuff like that, man. It's just rich
Yeah.
of the things you told me, and things in your family. So now I was blessed to be there, be able to be there with you guys, what I'm saying, outside of being able to go to the conference and, being at the conference, just those moments that we did,
Yeah.
outside the conference, going
Right.
and we went to go eat at the spot over in Elizabeth City.
Mm.
Um, and it had the guy had the big mural outside, and there was a guy on the inside who did some Black liberation stuff in Jersey. You
Oh
know,
yeah, yeah,
right, right. That Mike paid for the food for.
yeah,
He's an
yeah.
OG. He was an OG in the area. You know what I mean?
Right.
Some Black liberation stuff up there. You know what I'm saying? So just seeing people like that do stuff like that again, man. The social aspect of life, man. You can't underestimate it.
That's true.
And that's part of mayhem. What I'm saying?
Mm.
That's part of mayhem. That big part of mayhem is that social aspect of being able to go and experience different cultures and different things, man.
Yeah.
And being exposed, man, exposing, these children, man, these little ones to another possibility in life, man, outside of their neighborhood, outside of their hood,
Right.
and then having that influence to
Mm.
expose their parents and the rest of their family.
Right.
Because each individual that has went, their family has been blessed with a different mindset because of the child that came back.
That's amazing.
So yeah, that's it, man. We're just trying to change lives and one child at a time. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
you know,
I think I'd better leave it there. I just thought
yep.
of like two questions that I wanted to wrap up with, but I don't know if it'll throw off the flow of things. Since we brought up hustle, like uh, as it relates to like hype and hustle of like the environment, the culture, the like for yourself specifically when you're looking into like the nonprofit side of it, the health and fitness that interest you, like what would you say are some of the things that are like where the hype is real, but where is the other side where you say, okay, like the hustle is just as important as the hype that gets put out there?
Oh man, it's all the same for me.
Okay.
If you're not hyped about your hustle, ain't nobody else
Mm,
supposed to buy into it. You know what I'm saying?
right, right,
If you can't buy if you ain't buying into your own dream, why should I?
right.
Right? When you come at me, when I come at somebody with mayhem or with Ghoulie, I'm excited about it, bro, because I
Mm,
believe in it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm
yeah,
hyped about it. So
right.
my hype and my hustle, they go together.
Awesome.
You know.
I love that answer because
Yeah.
it's funny. I heard somebody say it this morning on the line and on the podcast, I think from last week, the Secret to Success podcast, they were talking about um, why some people view other people's gifts or talents as sexy. And it's like you view other people's stuff as sexy because you don't value what you have. And I
Absolutely.
talked to Patrick Pete yesterday, and he was saying that like his thing is as like the gift coach is to help people identify the purpose for which they were built, like understanding that like
Mm.
what they have inside of them, they need to realize that in order to have a purpose and like a goal and direction for their lives, because somebody that doesn't have that direction is like a bird that's falling but hasn't understood that they've got to flap their wings in order to fly. So it's like watching them from a distance, he's kind of like, oh, like you that struggle that you're going through is there. And it's like if I can give you a word or something that helps you like keep flapping your wings and like keep like pushing through that struggle, then it helps you to very much what's the word, it helps you to very much validate yourself or value
Mm.
yourself to where you're
Yes.
like, okay, like I
Yeah.
am important. Like Bill
Absolutely.
Gates is great, Warren Buffett is great, Eddie EL is great, but like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm also great because
You're
I
also great.
also I have something in my mind. Like I might not know how they did that yet, but okay, I can watch a video and they're teaching me how they're able to do it. And like even this thing for the podcast, like I wanted to do it so much because I appreciate people interviewing others and just different people getting a chance to share their story where it's like there are people that are quote unquote celebrities that are just more popular or more well known than other people. But
Mm,
my thing was that having worked with the everyday person, I felt like, okay, I'm like the everyday person and I identify with them. So if somebody's been working since they were 10, I was like, okay, like I can understand that. If somebody's an immigrant, it's like, okay, I understand that. If somebody is affluent or not affluent, it's like I still understand that because they're a person, they're human, and it's nice to let them talk about who they are. And where, like with podcasting, you're able to listen to something or even watch somebody and like just say, okay, like that person's not too different from me. Like they're not done up with makeup, or even if they are, it's like, okay, maybe I want to do my makeup like that. Maybe I want to style my hair like that. And the whole point is just to re-empower people, I guess, essentially, instead of them looking down on themselves and being like, oh, okay, I'm just a welder, I'm just a laborer, I'm just this. Is like, yeah, you're that, but what you're doing is important because you have a family that you take care of. Like you might not be a billionaire or whatnot, but you connecting with EL and being able to have your child go on a program like that, what that child will be able to bring back will do for them more, and it will do for you more because of you taking more time to value yourself and the people that are in your immediate circle.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, one, that's valuable what Patrick Pete does, man, because again, like with the young lady I was telling you about,
Mm-hmm.
she had a dream in her head, man, but in at the same time in her head, she was not equipped to accomplish her dream, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and didn't believe she could do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, um, yeah, but no belief in yourself, man. Like your hype and your hustle,
Mm-hmm.
it's got to be the same,
Right.
you know,
I like
and
that.
you got to believe what you're putting out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You got to believe. Like I believe what I'm putting out there. I believe in Guli. I believe in Mayhem. I believe in all those things. I started them. We started them. Both of them started together by my wife and myself,
Yeah.
and we believe in every aspect of it. Every
Nice.
aspect of it. You know what I'm saying? I don't work out, just because I'm trying to sell working out. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't even really promote the fitness. I don't even promote fitness training. I don't do that.
Right.
Um,
Right.
even though I used to be a trainer, I don't
Mm-hmm.
promote fitness training because I work out for me. I don't
Right.
work out for the client. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't
Right.
work out just to push that. I work out for me. My kids, they work out and they run because that's something we did as a family. My kids to this day, punishment for them is not being able to be on a treadmill.
Mm.
I say, no, you can't get on a treadmill today. And that's punishment for them. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, um, not being able to go to the gym. That's
Mm.
something that breaks my son's heart. You know what I'm saying? No, you ain't going to the
Mm-hmm.
gym today. You
Right.
know. And so that like I said, we believe in that. Like traveling, we believe in exposure. Like my kids, they are living more exposed life than I did as a child.
Right.
I went on my first trip out of the country when I was 30, right?
Mm.
My children have been going out the country since they were born.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? My daughter was already on a plane at 30 days old. She was on a plane.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Traveling.
Yeah.
Before she was a year, she was on a cruise ship.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So they don't know anything else. You
Right.
know what
Right.
I'm saying? So, yeah, which is tough. It gets
Right.
tough
Right.
sometimes because when we say we're gonna go on a family trip, they immediately
Plane
assume
ride.
with a plane ride. It's
Yeah.
automatic. You know what I'm saying? Plane ride's automatic or a cruise.
Yeah.
Or we're going to some foreign country. And
Mm-hmm.
that's it for them. They
Yeah.
don't anything under that, they're like, oh, that's not a really family trip. We're just going to visit somebody. That's not a family trip. We're just going to visit, you
Right.
know. So, but they yeah, no, just the exposure level, man. Like I said, I believe in travel.
Mm.
I expose my kids as much as possible to it. Me and my wife have the same values when it comes to travel,
Mhm.
same values when it comes to working out, same values when it comes to mental health. We have, what I'm saying, we align on those things.
Yeah.
What I'm saying, we don't align on everything, but we align on those things.
Right. Right.
And the stuff that we don't align on, we just make accommodations for each other. So
Gotcha.
But
That's
yeah,
awesome.
man, that is when I talk about health, man, I speak about it from a standpoint of holistic. Like my marriage got to be healthy.
Mm.
My finances got to be healthy.
Yeah.
My mind has to be healthy. My body has to be healthy. So we look at all those. Me and my wife feel the same way about health in that aspect. So
Right.
you know, travel too.
Yeah.
So exposure and going places and things like that. So yeah, that's very important. That your hustle and the hype for me, they should be hand in hand.
Mm. I guess
I think what I
yeah.
do is sweet.
Yeah.
I think I'm sweet at what I do. You know what I mean?
Nice. I mean, if you had to define those, like for yourself, like how do you define the hype, your hype, and your hustle?
I I'm not overly. I'm more of reserved, right?
Hmm.
I smile. I don't have a real big voice like that. I know how to modulate my voice when I
Hmm.
do, but my hype is not one I inspire with information though.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I inspire with facts. I inspire with a calmness and a coolness. But nonetheless, it's inspiration. My energy is reserved and calculated.
Right.
Um, because I realize I don't have a lot of energy for everything that I want to do,
Hmm.
and so I have to reserve energy for more important things. So my energy is reserved and calculated, and uh, my hustle is what it is, man. It's my life
Right.
basically. Because I travel, I work out,
Yeah.
I look to be inspired. I want to inspire. So everything that I just my hustle is my life. It's what
Mm.
I do. I work. I believe in
Yeah.
hard work, and I work hard. I believe in smart work, and I work smart. You know what I'm saying? I believe
Yeah.
in putting extra hours in when you have to. I believe in putting. I believe in putting my family over my work. At the same time, I realize my family got to eat. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? So I have to be strategic and smart about what I do. And I believe in incorporating my family in my work.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that we can still provide and do the things we need to do.
Mm.
So I guess a reserved, hardworking, inspiring hustle, if I had to give it a description.
I love it. I love it. That's awesome. So let the people know where they can find you.
Oh, okay. You can catch up with me at one of my websites is ghouliworld.com, where you can catch the shirts and stuff like that at. I do some other things on there. You can also catch up with us at Mayhem for you, the number 4, the letter U, .org. So that's MAHAM 4, the number 4, the letter U at .org. Hey, check that out. I think that's more important. You going to Ghoulie is you going to Mayhem. Go to Mayhem.
Right.
I go to Mayhem and check that out and see what we do with the young kids, man. See what we do with the kids. Check out some pictures that we've done. We take pictures every year, so check out the pictures that we've been able to do. Exposure with the children. And if you're impressed, man, donate. You know what I'm saying? Have people go donate to that, man. It's a worthy cause. We changing lives. Not only changing lives of children, we changing lives of their families too. So
Mm.
yeah, man, let's just go to work and change some lives, man. That's what we're doing.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time, and thank you for. It's always a pleasure to speak with you.
It's a pleasure to speak with you and appreciate the platform, man. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. I'll send you this the unedited video of this once I get it uploaded. I'll send
Mm-hmm.
it to you through a YouTube link, and
Oh, that's awesome.
once I get around to it, I'll edit it and all that. Or
That's cool. Yeah. But I appreciate it, man. I got to run.
yes, sir.
Thanks for the opportunity, and I look forward to speaking with you later, man.
You're welcome. I'll see you
All right,
later.
Ash. Yep.